The 585th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up today using promo code MMASGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy, Degenerinos. Welcome to episode 585 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. This one is going out to Blue Freeland, new member of our family. Hopefully Blue is subscribed to our YouTube channel because we need to get those subscribers up. So welcome, Blue. Welcome all of you. Maybe I'll just rhyme the rest of the episode. I'm one of your hosts, Jeff Chalks Fox. It is Monday, which means we have a non-UFC episode for you. And it's a good one. Well, they're all good, but it's for the co-leader, as they like to call themselves, as Gumby mentioned last episode, the PFL. They are back after a month and a half hiatus or so. They're back with episode 4 of their 2024 regular season. We're going to do 2 episodes on them because they have a pretty stacked 12-fight cards. We're going to get you the first 6 fights today, and then tomorrow we're going to finish up with the rest of the 6. And I'm not doing it alone. No, I have the best capper, the best regional MMA capper in the world, regardless of what you may read elsewhere. It's Daniel Gumby Freeland. Hello.
It's always funny when you miss a couple and you're up, dozens and dozens
all
of
it takes
on the year. It just takes missing a couple of them.
Or miss a main event and they hate you.
Yeah. Although I got the KSW main event. I got the KSW main event. I got the Octagon main event. I think I hit all my main events this week. Oh no, I didn't hit the LFA one. I didn't hit that. Oh no, I missed Cage Warriors too. That was haste. I was 2 for 2 on main events. And at the time of recording this, Fury FC has not yet happened. So yeah, the jury's still out on the 5th event we covered last week. But yeah, we'll get to results at some point in time when we have them all compiled and whatnot. In the meantime, I have to give you my beef here with PFL because I got an issue. This is a good card because if you go up and down it, there's so many fighters I like on this card. Mm-hmm. I mentioned, I think when we did the first half of PFL, their first fights before the playoffs, and now we're on their second ones. The women's flyweight division is sick. They did a great job of rostering these fighters. I think they did an absolutely miserable job of booking them. Some of them being like, it's clear you're trying to get this one fighter a win, and that's a bummer. And then some of them being like, well, why in the world would you take these 2 fighters who did so well in those first fights and then match them against each other so it's going to be hard for them to make the playoffs? You know what I mean? Like, they're basically letting some fighters walk to the playoffs, and and there's no transparency in how they're matchmaking this. It's like they keep saying, every time they get a question that they're like, we just match them up, and it's like, well, why do you just match them up? Why don't you just like randomly pull them, or why don't you have them matched up based on how they did in their first fight or how many points they have? Like, at least then I could respect it, because like right now there is clearly one fight on this card where their sweetheart is getting the easiest matchup possible. And I don't even think it's all that easy for the record, but we'll be talking about that fight on tomorrow's episode. But anyway, that's my beef with them right now. Their matchmaking needs like a complete overhaul for the 2025 season. Like, just pull names out of a hat, make a freaking show about it. Like, I'd even watch that YouTube of them pulling the matchups every single fight card. I'd love that.
Why don't you have the winners of the first round pick their second round opponent? You could do lots of different things to make it interesting, better than what they're doing, better than running out rematches that no one wants to see a rematch of. Like, they've done a lot of that this season too.
Yeah, that was the other thing. The first fight there were so many rematches in there, and like not even rematches that you like needed to see. It wasn't like rematches where you're like, oh, this one was razor close. It was like, nah, this person TKO'd the other person kind of violently, and we're going to do it again.
Yep, it's true. All right, before we move on, Don't forget, make sure you check out our new daily podcast dedicated to giving out underdog picks, The Daily Dog. New 10-minute episodes dropping Monday to Friday, The Daily Dog, wherever you get your podcasts. And also, the Circa announced they're giving away $16 million, American, I assume, in guaranteed prizes for Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Sign up in Vegas, play from anywhere with footballcontestproxy.com. Promo code SGP to get 50% off, 50%. No, that's wrong. $50 off. Boy, I almost gave you half price. $50 off. That's footballcontestproxy.com. Promo code SGP, $50 off. Get in there and do it. All right, so what we're complaining about, not really, is PFL 4 2024 regular season, which is going down, I think it's Thursday, right? Yes, the 13th
Yes.
in Uncasville, Connecticut. You've been there before for fights, right, Gumby?
Many times. Actually, that was the place
the
where
most-
I saw my first ever live fights in Uncasville, Connecticut. It was headlined by Pat Curran in a Bellator tournament final.
Yes, the good old days, the tournament days. So this is the Mohegan Sun Casino. I guess that's probably where you saw your fights as well, right?
Yes. There's not a lot else in Uncasville, Connecticut.
No. So that's one thing I don't think this is up to the PFL level. That's one positive thing they got going for them. It's a Thursday night. ESPN Plus are the main card and the prelims. I think it's harder to actually watch up here in Canada. I think they expect us to pay for every one of these events in Canada now, pay-per-view. So anyhow, 5:30 p.m. starting time, Eastern time on Thursday. Like I said, this is 12 fights in a cage, not just a normal. It says cage on Tapology, but it's not
Smart
a normal
cage. Smart cage.
Smart cage technology. So yeah, this is going down, as I said, Thursday. We're going to give you the first 6 fights on the card, and then tomorrow, part 2, we will break down the other 6 for you. All right. Prelim fight. I assume this is not a tournament fight, right?
To my knowledge.
Melissa Balic, or is it Balic? Balic. Hard C silent Balic versus Christina Katsikis. 3 5-minute rounds, 125 pounds in the women's division. I'll tell you about, we actually have odds. Have you seen the odds, Gumby?
I have, yeah. You don't have to hide them.
Katsikis is the meat grinder, 1-2. She's been knocked out once. She's not finished anyone. This is her PFL debut. Loss over her career. Got TKO'd in her last fight. That was back in May of 2021. Has not won a fight since November 2019. 0-1 in Bellator. 2-1-2 as a pro grappler. Plus 275. Balic Static, his nickname, spelled incorrectly. Of course, fighters in their bad spelling. This is her pro debut. She went 3-1 in the amateur ranks and won a championship there. She won 2 straight fights. Amateur fights, went 3-0 in kickboxing, the champion there as well. 7 years younger than Katsikis, 3 inches taller, minus 350. Have you seen much tape on either of these ladies?
Yeah, I've seen them both fight. Katsikis is a Northeast gal. She fought in Cage Titans. Actually, funny story about her lone win in her professional career. So her nickname is the Meat Grinder. She beat the Butcher in her lone victory. This is like a real clear style matchup here. Katsikis, very strong. The nickname Meat Grinder makes all the sense in the world. She wants to put you up against the cage, grind, take you down, wear you out. And Balic is a kickboxer. She's actually got quite a bit of kickboxing experience. I also think she was briefly signed to the WWE on a developmental deal. And she kind of looks like she fits that bill. But she's like a fun kickboxer. She's got really good range. Her boxing is, I say fun kickboxer. It's really boxing more than it's kickboxing. When she lets her hands go, they seem much more powerful than you're going to get from a lot of, women's flyweight at 0-0. I think her wrestling defense is held up in all the instances where I've seen. She does a good job of doing the very basics, like dig for the underhook, circle out, try to break rank, and then just wind up throwing again. I think she does all that stuff well enough to beat Katsikis here. I'm not gonna. You said negative 350. I saw negative 275. Not that negative 275 on Bet Online not that long ago, unless it's changed.
Minus 350 is the odds I saw.
Man, that's not tempting in the least. I'm not going anywhere near a 0-0 women's flyweight on a PFL undercard at -350, especially because like I just don't know that, you know, she's a kickboxer. I don't know that her takedown defense holds up against Katsikas. I'm gonna pick her to win, but again, just stay away from this one. There's no reason to be on this one.
All right, there you go. Don't play this fight, Gumby saying, but you have to play it. You have to play at least $100 in every fight.
Every single fight, no matter what. Yeah.
Every single fight, because that's the only way you can make money in this game. All right. Another women's flyweight fight. This is another non-tournament fight, right? Yes. I believe.
Is this a non-tournament fight?
Is it a tournament fight or not? Do you know off the top of your head?
I'll put the intern on it, but it'd be criminal if they didn't put Amaba in the tournament.
Samiko Inaba versus Saray Orozco, U.S. versus Mexico in 3 5-minute rounds, obviously, because that's what we are doing here. I'll tell you about Orozco first. Killer Queen, like the song. I'm not a Queen fan, but I know they have a song named Killer Queen. She is 8-5, 2 knockouts, 1 submission. She's been submitted 1 time. This is her debut. She won 2 straight fights in 4 of 5. Has not fought since May of 2023. Has not lost since August of 2021. Was regional champion. Used to fight at strawweight, an inch height, inch reach over Inaba, plus 300. Inaba, Lady Samurai, 6-1, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. Never been finished in a fight. This is her debut. So this can't be a tournament fight if they're both debuting here. Lost her last fight, 6-1 in Bellator, minus 400.
I mean, unless they are replacements for somebody who got hurt. I can't see anything on Tapology that lets me know. I was about to dig to the PFL official site, but what'd you say the line on Amaba was up to?
Inaba, I have her at minus 400.
That's where she was when I looked too. She's gonna dominate this fight. If you look at Orozco's fights, pretty much anytime she's had any issues with fighters, it's because they've been good wrestlers. She's actually got a pretty good resume for somebody who's got a record like she does. She lost to Kanako Murata, who's obviously a very high level wrestler. She lost to Silvana Gomez Juarez, who can wrestle a little bit. And then I think Tania Torres beat her too, which is a regional name maybe not a lot of people have heard of. But like, she's just lost every time she's fought somebody who can physically out wrestle her and like put her on her back. And Samiko Amaba is a really good wrestler. Like I saw her all the way back when she was fighting as an amateur. She fought for Cowboy Fight Series, which is Cowboy Cerrone's short-lived promotion that only had amateur fights that used to be aired on a website I worked for. And I was like, this Amaba chick should just turn pro. She's way better than everybody on this card. And then she got a bunch of Bellator fights. Now she's here. I mean, like the wrestling's really good. The top control's excellent. Like I really like her ability to move positions. She's going to drop ground and pound here until it's over. Amaba negative 400. You know, again, maybe not the line we all wanted here. She probably should have gotten a better opponent, but at the same time, like you can probably squeeze her in parlays and juice your numbers up a bit.
All right. And it is not a tournament fight. Looks like I checked their field. She is not included in it, which kind of makes sense since they already started it. This is round 2 of it. All right. Before we move on, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Pick 8 is now live for the NBA Finals. Create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries, so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. The best part, you can win up to 325 times your original amount. You can now use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. Do we have a pick for Game 3, Gumby, without seeing Game 2 first?
Well, I can't pick for Game 3, but I am going to tell you that if you're looking maybe for MLB tonight, because there is obviously there's MLB on Monday. I like the higher than on Eric Fetty's strikeouts. Eric Fetty, low-key, been very good for the White Sox.
Okay, the White Sox, interesting.
Yeah, and that's why you haven't heard of him. But he's got 73 strikeouts already this year, and only 74 and a third innings. And he's playing the Mariners, who lead the majors in striking out. So Eric Fetty's higher than on his strikeouts.
There you go. Don't miss your chance to try it out before it's gone. Make sure you use our code though, MMASGPN. And that way you can claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. All right, we're sticking with the ladies here. They got all the ladies on the early part of the card here. Not all of them, but a lot of them. This is a tournament fight. Juliana Velasquez, Brazil versus Lisa Maldin for the United States of America. And yes, you guessed it right, 3 5-minute rounds. Maldin is 6-4, 1 knockout, 2 submissions. She's been knocked out once. She's 2-1 in PFL, 2-1 over her last 3, 3-3 over her last 6. Got TK'd in her last fight, her first round tournament fight. Used to fight at bantamweight, 1-0 as pro boxer, 4 years younger than Velasquez, plus 240. Velasquez, 12-3, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions. She's been knocked out once, submitted once. She also lost her first round fight, so she's 0-1 in PFL. Part of a 3-fight losing streak. She's not won since July of 2021. All those losses were against, though, the champion Liz Carmouche, who we'll talk about tomorrow.
All 3 of them.
Yep, that's what I was telling you off the top. Good job, PFL.
Terrible.
Good booking. 7-2 in Bellator and was the champion there. Used to fight at bantamweight as well. Regional champion, 2014 pro MMA debut. An inch reach over Malden, minus 300. So another big line here.
Yeah, Malden's one of the worst fighters in this series. And I don't mean to be mean about that, but like, you want to know a good indicator that she's probably one of the worst that they signed for this season? They matched her with Dakota Tacheva to start. Whoever Dakota Tacheva is fighting is probably the worst fighter in the series because that's what PFL
They're the
does
weakest
right
link.
now.
Yes.
Exactly. And they want her to win and they want her to be in the finals. Juliana Velasquez is better than Tacheva, in my opinion. Yes, she's lost 3 times to Liz Carmouche, but she's held better grappling positions in a lot of those fights. She can grapple with Liz Carmouche, which is worth noting because like that is a really tough thing to do. Even at her age, Liz Carmouche is so freaking strong. And Velasquez has looked good pretty much fighting anybody that's not her. She even beat Ilima May McFarlane in that fight to win the belt. I think Malden is a huge step down for her here. I think you're probably only getting the number as low as it is because she's lost so many in a row. It's Velasquez here. I hate being this chalky out the gate, but like, again, this is sort of my beef with their matchmaking. They're not really giving us a lot of positions here to find a dog.
Nope, a lot of squash matches. So it would be, I guess that's probably why we don't have any clarity as to how they match up these fights because they're making squash matches on purpose. That's why they don't want.
And then we're going to talk about a fight on tomorrow's fight card where it seems like, if they're just making squash matches, I get it. They want certain people in there. And then there's one we'll talk about tomorrow, which completely bucks that trend.
Okay, there you go. So now Gumby's very good at giving teasers. So now you got a teaser for tomorrow. All right, we're not going to talk about a women's flyweight bout for one fight, and then we're going back to women's flyweight again. We're talking about the big boys here instead, because this is the heavyweight division. Gumby, a new division, heavyweight and women's flyweight week in the PFL. Boy, what a good host. Danilo Marquez, United States, not United States, Brazil. I told you I'm a good host versus Tim Johnson. He's the United States. Gentlemen, 3 5-minute rounds if they need them. I tell you about Marquez first, 15-5, 4 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's been knocked out 4 times. 3-1 in PFL. He's won 4 of his last 5, including his last fight. He went 2-2 in the UFC. I don't even remember this guy in the UFC, which it wasn't even that long ago. Somehow
he had some really good fights. Who is it that he rear naked choke? Was it Kennedy and
I told you I don't remember him. I'm not going to answer.
He fought Kennedy and Zachuku. He fought Jelton Almeida. I'm trying to remember the other 2 he fought, but like I remember him pretty vividly from that time.
Well, of course you do. You're Gumby, of course. He's a regional champion, or was. Used to fight at middleweight and light heavyweight, 2014 pro MMA debut. 3 inches taller than Johnson. 0-1 is pro grappler. He's at plus 130. Tim Johnson is 17-9, 8 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out 5 times, submitted once. This is his PFL debut. So is he in the tournament or not? See, I'm going with that again.
My guess is he's a replacement fighter, but they let replacement fighters make the playoffs if they're fighting tournament guys. So with Danilo Marquez being in the tournament, I'm assuming now Tim Johnson is filling in for somebody who is hurt.
No, he is. I just confirmed he is definitely in the tournament. He's listed in the standings. So there you go. Okay. He has 0 points, not surprisingly. He's won 2 straight fights. Before that, he lost 3 straight. Won his last fight via TKO. 4-5 in Bellator, 4-3 in the UFC. Regional champion, 2010 pro MMA debut. An inch reach over Marquez, 14 pounds heavier than him based on their last weigh-ins for their last fights. He's at minus 160.
I'm going Tim Johnson again. I'm going to go another favorite here. And you know me.
Not as chalky, at least.
It's a little less chalky. First of all, the big reason here is Danilo Marquez is not a heavyweight. He's a light heavyweight at best. He got past Satoshi Ishii in his last fight. But, like, if you want to peel it back, anytime he's fought somebody who's like a big heavyweight, he's had trouble. Like he fought Marcelo Nunes, who's a jiu-jitsu black belt. And like Marquez's best trait is his grappling. And what happened in that fight? He got knocked out by the jiu-jitsu guy, right? And like for me, Tim Johnson has got the wrestling to stuff Danilo Marquez, right? He's a big dude with a wrestling background. And yeah, he's had trouble with some of the like higher level dudes in Bellator when he was there. But like he handled the Matt Mitriones of the world, who, Matt Mitrione can wrestle a fair amount too. Danilo Marquez is going to be undersized here. He's going to have no avenue to get it to the ground. And Tim Johnson has shown he's got like kind of sneaky knockout power too for a guy who largely lives on his wrestling. I think this fight goes down one of two ways. Either Tim Johnson knocks him out on the feet in the first 30 seconds of the fight, or he takes him down repeatedly and just makes Marquez throw up nonstop triangles and armbar attempts that he shucks off and ground and pounds him for 15 minutes. So give me Tim Johnson. I think there's no way he drops this fight. This is one of my more confident picks.
I thought your sentence was ending with he's going to make him throw up, and I thought it was the end of it. Oh dear. But there was more to it. Maybe he'll make him throw up too, not just throw up submission.
Could do both. Could do both.
It's happened, hasn't it? It's happened. Here's an aside. Did you see the video a few weeks ago? The fighter was puking like blue liquid. I think it was blue. It was like obviously somebody drank beforehand.
Just chugged Gatorade and then got tired.
It was like neon. Neon was coming out of him, which was I'm like, that is right up Gumby's alley. I'm sure he's got it saved on his phone, but apparently you don't. All right,
I missed that one.
You know what else is up Gumby's alley? Rhythm. RITHMM, Rhythm. If you're betting on NBA player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning our algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you make wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll a sportsbook. Rhythm also allows you to create your own custom NBA models, so you can get AI-backed moneyline spread and total picks for every playoff game. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpockets.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpockets.com/RITHMM. We're also brought to you by Game Time. I'm always in the Game Time app looking concert tickets, sports tickets. They got it all in there. Plus, Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. They got last-minute tickets. They got flash deals. They got zone deals. Easy to buy. Everything you need's there. Their big thing is last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying last-minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc., and MMA. MMA is on there. I've checked for UFC tickets in the past. Seat views are great too. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, so you know exactly where you'll be sitting, what type of scene view of the action you'll get. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code CFBX to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem our code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. How about we talk about some women's flyweights? What do you think? It's been a while.
I love it.
Hey, Gumby said it's a good class, and it is. A lot of good fighters in it. We just don't like the way they're matching them all up. Anyhow, this is a women's flyweight bout between a Brazilian, Elara Joanne, and a American, Shanna Young. And it's 3 5-minute rounds. The Shanimal Young is 9-6, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions. She's been knocked out once, submitted once. 1-1 in PFL. Win-loss of her last 4, 2-4 of her last 6. She missed weight in her last fight. She went 1-3 in the UFC, 1-1 in Invicta, 0-1 in Contender Series. Used Fed bantamweight, regional champion, 4 inches height, an inch reach over Joanne, plus 120. I'm glad she didn't change her name to 50K yet. She's still the Shanimal.
That's a good
right?
That's a good reference.
There you go. Yeah. Hardcores know what I'm talking about. Arya Stark. That's Joanne's nickname. I looked it up. That's like one of those Game of Thrones people, which I have not seen. Now, another thing Jeff has not seen. Neither has Gumby, I don't think.
I've not seen Game of Thrones either, just because like fantasy is not my jam.
Yeah, me neither.
But like you just seem to try to piss off everybody as much as possible.
Anybody who watches Game of Thrones is a bunch of losers. Stupid nerd losers. Anyone who watches those fantasy shows.
All right, make sure you comment if you're mad at Jeff again. Make sure you comment Gumby rules in the comment section.
Bunch of fantasy nerds, of course. And yeah, let's
talk about fun of fantasy. You've made fun of Dragon Ball Z anime guys. You made fun of.
I've made fun of Star Wars though. I like Star Wars. All right, Joanne, 11-9, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. She's been knocked out twice, submitted 3 times. 0-1 in PFL, 0-3 over her last 3, 2-5 over her last 7. She's been submitted in 2 straight losses. So Young should try to go for a submission. That's my coaching for her. Joanne was 3-4 in Bellator. Used to fight at bantamweight. 2013 Pro MMA debut. 3 years younger than Young, -150. So at least a little bit closer odds than the other fights we've been given.
I think I'm going to go underdog in this one too. Not just because I've been looking for an underdog, but Shanna Young kind of, I mean, not that Joanne's resume isn't good either, but like Shanna Young's kind of got a raw deal in the UFC. I mean, she had to fight Macy Chiasson up at 135. Mm-hmm. She finally decides to cut down to flyweight, and they give her Miranda Maverick in her only fight at flyweight. Like, damn, like that's a tough out. And like in there, like if you want to sprinkle some fights in the middle of there, she TKO'd Gina Mazzani, which I think all of us Tim Elliott fans now can really appreciate. So like and the thing about Shanna Young here, and I think maybe this is why I'm leading Shanna Young more than anything, is like you can say what you want about like whether or not her striking is good. You can say whether you want about like whether or not she holds positions well, but like the one thing you can't doubt about Shanna Young is she is so freaking strong. Like she is, like one of the stronger women's flyweights I've seen, with the exception of
Shanimal.
Yeah, with the exception of Miranda Maverick, which is like, again, the irony of that matchup. And the thing about Ilar Joanne is like her biggest issue with fighters she's fought so far is that like when she gets out physical, or when women can like sort of put her up against the cage and wear her out and not let her use her skills, she kind of struggles. She struggled with Jenna Bishop, she struggled with Talia Santos, and like those two are so damn good, and we're going to talk about them on tomorrow's show. But like she also struggled a little bit with Denise Kielholtz, and I know she won that fight by split decision, but like Kielholtz kind of like bodied her up a little bit, and like I think Kielholtz is like kind of like just like a kickboxer with like a little bit of wrestling. Like I don't even really think of her as a physical fighter. So like as long as Shanimal like sort of leans on, I'm gonna use it. As long as she kind of just leans on what she does really well, like which is just be strong, I think she can win this fight. And, the fact that we can get a little bit of a dog price on her, like I'm not paying favorite money for Joanne here. So give me Shanna Young.
We should start just calling everyone by their nicknames. That would be great. Because some of the nicknames are so ridiculous. It would be like Lady Samurai. Versus,
we had Meat Grinder.
Meat Grinder. We had Meat Grinder versus Static. We had Lady Samurai versus Killer Queen. Those actually kind of match up pretty good there. Yeah. Shanimal versus Arya Stark. All right.
Good nicknames in this division, too.
Yeah. Main event of our program is a heavyweight fight, and then we're going to put a bow in it, and we'll be back tomorrow with the rest of the fights. So hopefully we haven't scared you off yet with all the crazy nicknames and the silliness. I'm going with the order that it is on the PFL's website. Yeah, you haven't been thrown off yet. It's Golem versus Fortune is what I have.
Nope. That's all right. Hang on, I got to change the little graphic.
Is that okay with you?
It is now.
I assume the official site, but a lot of times the official site, even the UFC's official site, are like the last ones to actually update properly. But we'll go with what they have. Why not? All right, we got Marcelo Golem versus Terrell Fortune. It really doesn't matter because we're covering all the fights anyhow. So this is another Brazil versus US fight. This one is at men's heavyweight, and we're going to tell you about Golem first. He's 10-5, 7 knockouts, 3 submissions, so he's finished everyone. He's been knocked out 3 times himself. 0-1 in PFL. He's lost 2 straight. Before that, he won 4 straight. The last 2 losses have come via knockout or TKO, actually. He's taking this fight on short notice, so that should be a warning. Warning, danger for you all. 3-0 in Bellator, 1-3 in the UFC. See, he's the other guy I forgot about in the UFC. 2 years younger than Fortune, an inch of height, plus 145. Fortune, 13-2, a 2-0 contest, 8 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. This is his PFL debut. So he's jumping into the tournament also, I think, in the second round here.
He got hurt in right before his first round fight,
right?
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah. 2-0 with 1 no contest over his last 3. He got the no contest was actually 2-0 with 1 no contest over his last 3. He got 1 via disqualification in his last fight. That was back in April of 2023. He's not lost a fight since November of 2021. He went 13-2 with 2 no contests in Bellator. So his whole career was spent in Bellator. 2 inches reach over Golem -175.
So I'm going to go with Terrell Fortune. I think him and Tim Johnson tend to be my 2 favorite picks on this whole card. Maybe throw those 2 together in a parlay. That might be the best play of the weekend here. I think Marcelo Golem quits is my biggest issue with him. Like, if you go back to when he was in the UFC, I actually had him pegged as a guy who was going to make a run at heavyweight in the UFC. I loved his jiu-jitsu. I thought he was low-key a halfway decent boxer. And since then, all I've done is seen him lose on the regional scene and in the UFC until they fired him. In moments where I thought he had the skills to win, and I still think he's got the skills to win. The difference is Terrell Fortune here, obviously just an absolute powerhouse. He's a guy who's got good wrestling. I think his hands hold up here. And look, Golem quit in both of those fights against Daniel James. I'm just going to say that. It looks like at certain times in those fights, he just wanted out. He didn't want to be there anymore. He didn't want to throw, or he didn't want to defend himself. Like, it just looked like he was done. Because, right, it's back-to-back losses to Daniel James. Am I wrong about that?
Yes, that sounds right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think he quit in both of those Daniel James fights. I think Fortune is better than Daniel James. So the fact that you can get him at -175 against the guy who's, already lost to somebody worse twice in a row. Yeah, give me all of that.
Give him all of it. All right. Recap. Then we'll be back in your orifices tomorrow with the conclusion of this exciting PFL 4 episodes. All right. He's got Fortune. He's got Young. He's got Johnson. He's got Inaba. He's got Balic. Did I miss one?
Yeah, you forgot Juliana Velasquez.
Yeah. Yes, Velasquez as well. All right. That is it for now. We'll be back for part 2 tomorrow, and then we'll be back for the UFC the next 2 days after Wednesday and Thursday. We'll always be in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. You can hit us up on Twitter if you like, SGP and MMA. Gumby runs that. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there, and on Instagram. Get in my Substack. I don't think I have a pick'em for this week's UFC because I have to skip one this month. I don't have enough prizes for everyone, but usually there is a weekly UFC pick'em in there for free. And get a subscription. You can read all my other stuff and the various custom rankings and stat stuff I do on there. MoneyMMA.substack.com. Gumby's got Top Turtle MMA podcast where he interviews interesting people in the MMA world. Do you know who's on it this week? Are we letting the cat out of the bag?
Yeah, a couple of fighters from the UFC Vegas 93 card. We're talking with Jose Lobo Solitario Johnson, and then Crispy Carly Judici is on as well.
Nice. Get that in your ear holes. And of course, our YouTube. Thanks everyone for continuing to watch and subscribe. Even if you don't want to watch, if you could subscribe, that would help us out greatly. That would be MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. And sportsgamblingpodcast.com is the place to be, the mothership, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. So you can dress cool like us, cool dudes, and sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. All right, Gumby, bid the people farewell.
All right, I'm Dana Gumby Vreeland. He's Killer Queen Jeff Fox, and we will see you tomorrow.